I watched Alex Hormozi close his eyes for 47 seconds before walking into a $105 million launch. No meditation app, no breathing exercise, just silence. What he did in those 47 seconds changed how I approach every launch, every sales call, really every high stakes moment in my business. He lived and won the next few hours 3 times in his imagination. And that's when I realized most entrepreneurs have imagination completely bass-ackwards, or at a minimum, we use very little of it. What's up, thinkers? This is Sean Osborn here. Welcome back to Thinking Big. Today we are talking about something that either builds your future or quietly sabotages it. And that is imagination, not the fairy tale woo-woo version. Because here's what I've learned building businesses and interviewing hundreds of high performers. The way we use our mind before we take action determines whether that action ever happens at all. Most people use imagination bass-ackwards, and it's costing them everything. Let's fix that today, and let's fix that right now. All right, so Napoleon Hill said, imagination is the workshop of the mind. Now, I've actually held some of these original handwritten manuscripts, these notes in my hands, thanks to Russell Brunson, and what he meant was nothing like what the internet has turned it into. Somewhere along the way, the workshop of the mind became vision boards, glue sticks, magazine cutouts of beach houses. And here's the false belief that's killing your results. If I visualize success hard enough, the universe will move and will handle all the logistics. Let me be direct. That is not hope, that is outsourcing, and your brain knows it. That uncomfortable feeling when you visualize your dream life but nothing moves forward, that's not imposter syndrome. That's your nervous system calling BS, calling bullshit on you because you're imagining outcomes. While your brain is screaming, but we don't know how to do that yet. And it's why you've probably tried visualizations, felt nothing change, and assumed that you were just not wired right. It just doesn't work. This is all woo-woo. But you are wired right. You are. You've just been doing things incomplete. And here's what modern neuroscience actually knows. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vivid imagined experience and an actual experience. Let me say that again. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual experience. When you mentally rehearse something with enough detail, the same neural circuits fire, the same motor planning activates, and the same emotional regulation patterns emerge. That's why Olympic athletes don't visualize holding medals. They visualize the execution, the breathe before the dive, the muscle tension in the turn, the split-second decision under pressure, not the trophy, the execution. Michael Jordan said it perfectly. You have to expect things of yourself before you can do them. Not hope for them, not wish for them, expect them. And expectation isn't magic thinking, it's neurological preparation. In my UOS framework, as a matter of fact, this is the conscious mind training the subconscious mind. Let me break that down. Your subconscious is your reactive brain, emotional, survival focused, pattern matching at lightning speed, and your conscious mind is your strategic brain, deliberate, analytical, building new patterns through repetition. And here's the trap. When you only visualize winning, your subconscious gets excited, but it stays completely untrained for the actual work. So when reality shows up with its objections, its obstacles, and uncomfortable moments, your nervous system freezes. We've never done this before. Danger, danger, danger. But when you visualize execution, aka using your imagination, when you mentally rehearse the process, your nervous system gets familiar with the work before the stakes are real. And here's the story that I normally don't tell. Before any big thing that I do, record content, do a webinar, make a pitch, do a launch, I mentally rehearse the uncomfortable parts first, not the celebration, the friction. Before any important conversation, before any moment that matters, I rehearse the hard parts. The sales conversations where someone pushes back, the objections that I don't have a perfect answer for, that odd silence after I make a pitch or an offer, the doubt that creeps in at 3 a.m. By the time it happens in real life, my nervous system has already experienced it and has been there before. Already survived it, already knows the path forward, and that is not confidence, that is conditioning. And there's a massive, massive difference. The most successful people I've been fortunate enough to work with, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, Alex Hormozi, they all do a version of this. They pre-live the hard parts so the hard parts feel familiar. This is why most people say visualization doesn't work. They imagine the destination, but they've never imagined actually doing it. Your brain doesn't resist success. Your brain resists unfamiliar effort. But it trusts rehearsed effort. That's the missing piece everyone skips. Imagination isn't magic, it's rehearsal. And rehearsal removes resistance. It transforms the unknown into the familiar and the threatening into the manageable. The I can't do this into the I've already done this in my mind. And conditioning beats motivation every single time. So here is your action step today, not tomorrow, right after this. Pick one task that you have been avoiding, just one. Maybe it's the sales call, the difficult conversation, the piece of content that you keep putting off. Set a timer for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and mentally walk through doing it successfully. Not perfectly, not magically, calmly, focused, competent. See yourself starting, working through the resistance, finishing. Feel the resistance in your body. Notice where it lives. Then watch it soften as your brain realizes, oh, we can handle this. This is your nervous system learning safety. Now here is the critical part. Do the task immediately after. Do not delay. Do it right then. No, I'll get to it later. No negotiating. The gap between imagination and action is where most people lose that magic. Close that gap and imagination becomes leverage, not fantasy, preparation. Here's the truth that successful people live by. Imagination trains execution before reality demands it. Most people use imagination to escape from reality. Elite performers, they use it to prepare for reality. Same tool, opposite application, completely different results. Your brain is always rehearsing something. The question is, are you directing it or is it directing you?